Hello kids, this program is about implementing the pointers. Let me read out the program statement for you. Develop a program using pointers to compute the sum, mean and standard deviation of all the elements stored in an array of n real numbers. Okay, so you're supposed to calculate sum, mean and standard deviation. How do we do all these calculations? Let me show you. Okay, sum is what? How do you calculate the sum? Sum is Sum is equal to sum plus whatever marks or whatever element is present, you're going to add it. What is average or mean? Mean is the sum divided by the total number of elements. And the standard deviation. See, standard deviation is, 1 minute. Standard deviation. Okay. So standard deviation, the formula looks something like this. Okay, the sigma is 1 by n over here, and whatever element you have minus the mean square. It's a sum. Okay, so whatever element you have first minus the mean square plus the next element minus the mean and then the square and so on. Okay, so once you know this, then the implementation of a pointer. So I hope you know implement is the pointer is declared like this. If you have an element, let's say A, then P can be said that P is equal to address of A. Okay. Now you see this program. So first is the header files. You need those math.h because we have some mathematical formulas in our program. Then all the information is there in that header file called math.h. Then we have the array, we have means, sum, and one for standard deviation. What is a sum STD? Sum standard deviation is the calculation of these sums. Okay. As we proceed to the program, we will discuss these things. And one for the pointer itself. First thing, you will ask the user for the number of elements, the size. So n. And in those n positions, you are going to input the elements. So what happens? I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, scanf percentage of and of array of I. Okay. Once you do that, see here, what is this statement used for? This statement is for storing the address of A in this pointer. Why I have not written and of A here is because the address is already written here. Okay. So you just need to copy that value into the pointer. So pointer is equal to A. Okay. Then you are supposed to calculate the sum. So for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, sum is equal to sum plus this value. Okay, this value. But you can't use that the value that is a of I. Instead of that, the address it is pointing to, you want the value in that address. So star of PTR. Okay. Once you do this, this is sum and the previous sum plus the current value of the pointer. Okay, the value of the pointer, the address and the value it is pointing to, that value is stored here. Once you do that, you are incrementing the pointer. That means you have to move to the next address and get the value in that address. So this will be carried out. Okay, then you have mean. What do you mean by mean? Mean is like the average, so it is sum divided by n. Okay, so we have the sum and then we have the average. Now coming to the standard deviation. I hope you remember the formula. Formula looks something like, whatever element you have minus the mean square. Okay, so 1 by n is equal to standard deviation. So you have to first calculate this sum. See here. For I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. You want the sum, this value. So sum of the standard deviation is the previous sum plus this particular thing. What is this thing? This is the thing that I've written inside the bracket. So it is power because you're calculating the power, right? So it's power of what? Whatever current value you have. Current value is got by using star of pointer. Star of pointer minus mean, okay? Minus mean. You're finding the square. So, comma 2. Okay. So then again, once you have the value, you will increase the pointer so that you can access the next address and get the values. After that, you will calculate the standard deviation. What is standard deviation? As you can see, standard deviation is 1 by n, then whatever sum you have got. Sum, you got it from here. Okay, so standard deviation is square root of, because you need that square root, right? So square root of sum STD, this one, divided by n, divided by n. Once you do that, you will display all those things. So sum, mean and standard deviation. The only thing is you have to remember to use the pointer to get the values and not use the direct variable. You can't use a of I over here. Instead of that, you're supposed to get the pointer and whichever address it is pointing to, in that address, whatever value you have to use that for the calculation. So how does this program work? Header file, do the declarations, then access the number of elements. So you first thing you'll ask the number of elements. Once you have the number of elements, get the values into those elements, then calculate the sum. Okay. So this particular step, sum is equal to sum plus star of PTL. Then do the average. Then to calculate the standard deviation, first do the sum part, that is element minus mean square. So that is what we are doing here in this loop. Then once you have the sum, then it is directly calculating the standard deviation. Standard deviation is square root of sum STD divided by n. Okay, this is how you can implement the pointer to calculate the sum, then the mean, and then the standard deviation.